That's yours.
But he supports everything I support, that's why. And he's the first person to actually stand up for Christianity. I say he's actually the first person to actually stand up for Christianity. And he's actually making our military strong again, our border strong again. We're respected around the world again. So but he's actually standing up for Christianity.
Open this fucking work.
Main reason why I also saw him, but like I said, he signed up for Christianity. Yeah, I also saw him, but like I said, he signed up for Christianity. Yeah, I'll be honest, he's not a perfect dude, but no one's perfect. Yeah, he might commit some sins, but we all committed sins. So, I mean, that could be my main reason. No, she was trying to protect AB. No Christian will stand for that. I'm doing good, and you?
Pretty good. Good.
So your argument is that Kamala was a Christian or is a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what Christian stands for abortion.
Sorry, I was off the app. Is it's more like taking away.
No, it's not taken away
Right.
because no Christian stands for abortion because it's a life.
Yeah, but it comes to a certain point where like a woman is raped and it just. Why
Okay, so do you understand? You do understand that? Yeah, it's a woman's body, but it's not her body that's developing.
But that's the thing. It's just like
And then God said, and then God said Himself, saying, "I knew before you were even formed within your mother's womb."
Like I'm on the fence about abortion. Like I think there's like some bad and there's some good to it. But
abortion shouldn't be answered. And like I said, no Christian. If you're saying you're a Christian, so-called Christian, that no Christian stands for that.
I don't really have an opinion on abortion.
But that's the thing. You're saying Kamala is a Christian, but then again, she was protecting abortion. No, but the woman, yeah, it's the woman's body, but it's not what's developing inside her is not her body.
Yeah, but there's some circumstances, like for example, like sometimes babies can grow outside the uterus and can be pretty deadly. pregnancy is not
Okay,
perfect.
that's a rare occasion. I know this because I was within the medical field, so that's a rare occasion.
I do agree that it is rare, but I don't think it's very logical to make it illegal. You know what I mean?
Who's making it illegal?
That's the goal, to make it illegal, abortion
No,
illegal,
our
to
goal
be
is
punished.
basically to give it to the states.
They're trying to make it a federal crime instead of like, state by state. That's like
It
the
was
goal,
passed
to
into the
make
state.
abortion illegal.
And if anything, and if anything, the Constitution does not even cover that.
I didn't hear what you said. What do you mean covered that?
If anything, our Bill of Rights in the Constitution doesn't even cover. I'm not going off based off the Bible because I can throw the Bible so many times on how I can defend it, but I'm not even going off that. I'm going off by how things were founded. It's freaking cold. Um,
Like, I do agree with you, man. I'm not saying, I just there's both sides to abortion.
and if anything,
Sometimes like there's
if anything,
there's
also,
irresponsibility, and sometimes it's just, you just have to,
hey,
it's just like
yes,
it prevents
you're
life
right.
and
There is
death.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are right. There is responsibility.
Like
I understand.
I
I do
do
understand.
disagree.
But then again, having these women, and not only women but men, especially my generation, yes wants to do things, yes you do them, yes wants to do things, yes you do them, and not take responsibility, and they think that's the only option
Yeah, I
when
agree.
it shouldn't.
My I do think, there's some people out there that uh don't practice safe sex, and it ends up like killing. But on the other hand, sometimes like people want to have a baby, but it ends up being deadly for the mother. And I don't think the solution is just outright making it illegal. I do understand, there's two sides, irresponsibility and, the dangers of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
but yeah, again, like fine, either way it doesn't matter. It's like a Christian from I know him from my side, he doesn't stand for that, and we'll be against that.
yeah, I understand it's part of religion, but
So
I don't think it's like
so it's
the
like
solution.
because Kamala was for it, that will not make her a true Christian.
Well, no one is truly true Christian. It's just like sometimes, sometimes religion, there's some ugly sides to it. I don't think you should just follow, every rule that religion, has, what's behind it. I feel like, I think, you know, I do believe you don't need religion to be a good person. And sometimes, like, sometimes religion can be pretty crooked. And
Yeah, I agree with you. Some religion can be messed up. Some things can happen within the church that shouldn't be happening. I mean, that's nothing new.
yeah,
From I can tell you right now, from even the Christian church, Catholic church, or whatever church we want to bring up, it happens no matter where.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's things that happen in church, but I also stand where I don't believe you need church to actually believe on whatever you believe in.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not really why I voted for her. But I'm
Okay,
not
what was the
on
reason?
any
What was the
side.
reason besides that? What
Yeah.
was the reason why you voted for her?
Um, Honestly, like, I feel like just taxing the rich more, the immigration policy, like, I I could name it. Honestly, I don't even know the other policy I stand by, but those are the two that, like, I look I looked
Okay,
forward for.
okay, so kind of wish she was not never going to do that. She was actually trying to fund her own party.
That's what do you mean? Like, through the campaign? What do you
No,
mean?
not to the campaign, yes to every individual Democrat that works there.
I don't understand what you mean.
She wasn't really okay. So you're saying tax the rich, fine? Yes, I agree. Tax
Yeah.
the rich, like we should put a good amount of tax on them.
Yeah. I do agree.
That I do agree with. But at the same time, it's like if you really looked how everything went up with her, she wasn't really for the people. She really wasn't for the American people in our best interests. She
But
was just using, and as a Mexican American, I can actually, she was only using race and color to on her all her campaigns.
that's just that's just false. Can I explain why she's for the American people?
Okay, explain why.
It's just because like I don't think like she wanted to like before Trump was president, the immigration system was it was always corrupt. It always favored people. Um, I don't think cutting funds for immigration is such a bad idea.
It is a
And
good idea because we should put our own people first.
well, so let me explain. The
And
reason, um,
and I think it's a good idea because we should put our veterans first.
well, the thing is, it's just because like these are just people. They're also fighting for their family, and they also
Okay,
help the economy.
so what's the difference with us over here as Americans? We're also fighting for our family. We're also fighting to get everything we need to make sure our family has the life we want them to have, especially for our
That's
fathers, mothers, and so on.
that's why we should work together and not judge each other by our like race, our status. I feel
But
like if we
that's
work together,
yeah,
things could
you're right.
actually end up really well.
Yeah, you're right. We should work together. We should not even put race for the main thing. But that's 99% of the Democrat Party, where they always put first the race.
I
And I
mean,
know this because I live in a state where it's mostly Democratic, and I get name called and I got called racial slurs just because of who had the way I voted, the way I lean, the type of tattoos I have,
I
and not and
I
not, and
do
this is
agree with
mostly
you.
coming
You
from the
don't
Mexican
deserve
side.
these
Huh?
names. And, I do agree, that you don't deserve this hate. But, it's just in every community, there's always, shitty people. That's why, like, I don't think immigrants are like the worst of America. They like help out in our
Okay, so
economy.
so let me ask you a question. Would you rather put like these immigrants that were coming into this country first, or our veterans first, who sacrificed everything and died for our freedom?
Well, I think they should be equal. I don't
No,
think any
no,
person that is better than each other. I mean,
no. The
like,
reason okay, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it should be equal because I think our veterans deserve way more than just being equal. Because they did go to war, they did fight, they did die for this country and die for our freedom.
yeah, but we don't treat immigrants better than veterans.
Because our veterans are the main priority that we should put first.
Yeah, but like that doesn't mean you gotta deport immigrants. You
And
don't
I
have
agree
to
with that.
punish them.
And I agree with the deportation. And it was, from what I know, recently it was only not only him. He did deport two people who were his supporters, but he still deported them because they were illegal immigrants.
Yeah, but like it's not very moral to kick out these people that like are trying to fight for their families. And the whole reason why they're immigrants is just because the immigration system, it's not very easy to get status. Like you just can't get married and get a green card. It's way more
Okay,
difficult
so
now.
here's the thing. I don't care if someone wants to come into the country. I don't mind that. I come from
Yeah,
a family from immigrants, so I
yeah,
don't care. But my
but
thing is,
why?
I do not want criminals in this country.
But there's criminals for every community. That doesn't mean like before like immigrants that break laws they do get sent back. But Trump, he's just punishing every immigrant.
Which
That's
it
the
should be, because if you come into this country and break the law of this country, then you should face a consequence.
well. The thing is, it's just something like that. It shouldn't be like it's what do you call it? It's like they're not being immoral. They're like, yeah, I do agree. They're being here illegally is illegal, but I don't think they should be punished. I think you just should make the immigration system just way
Okay,
easier,
well,
more
the
appealing to
immigration
apply
system
for.
The immigration system is like yeah, fine. You have to work hard to get to the immigration system, but if you don't want to be deported and you want to actually be a citizen here, why don't go through the hassle of going through the immigration, then risking it, and then getting deported after?
Can I explain? It's just cuz like so I've tried so most immigrants that they come here, around 70% of immigrants come here legally. But after their visas expire, the immigration system it is beyond difficult and expensive to get even approved. Like I'm pretty sure like for you to get approved for citizenship, your spouse, which the American spouse has to have a disability, or your children
That's
have
false.
have it. What's
That's
that?
actually pretty false.
It's
But
not
I know
false.
people. Yes, like
I've
I know people who actually went through that and their spouse is not a disability.
it's my point is it's
So
just
that
it's
can be an
difficult.
argument point. It's like
My main point is to make it easier for immigrants to get citizenship here because
it's simple. Okay, look.
I can see them coming here legally with a visa, workers or visitors with a visa, workers or visitors, and I
Okay,
don't
so
think it
look.
should.
It's like
I'm
this.
listening.
I try and believe because I'm part of a military family. I know military personnel. I try and believe that we should put our veterans first before we put any illegal immigrant first. I try and believe that we should put the American people first before we put any other immigrant first. That's the way it should be.
But we don't put immigrants first because
Yeah, because we should put our own people first. So how come that the responsibility falls on us that we need to worry about every other country and handle their immigration problem, but we cannot take care of our own?
it's just how corrupt the system is. They don't
Well,
treat
every country has a
immigrants any
corrupt.
better.
Every country has a corrupt system
Yeah, but we don't favor immigrants here. That's the thing.
because it shouldn't be favorite immigrants. We should put the American people first
But why?
because it's our country.
Not fair.
It's where we were born, raised. We learn how to love this country. People died and sacrificed everything for this country.
But it's like land of the free, like giving these
Okay,
people
yes, it's
opportunities
land of
to
free, home of the
survive,
brave. Yes, it is.
escaping
It is
from
land of
the
the free, home of the brave. But what
yeah.
pisses me off the most is when people put immigration priorities first, then put our veterans first. And I'm pissed off about this because I'm a nephew of a fallen soldier. I'm a cousin of a large soldier, and I'm a nephew who still has an uncle in the army. So yes, talking about this is gonna piss me off. But we do not put our veterans first, and we put these criminals first.
I do agree. Some people do put immigrants first, but in reality, um, immigrants they're pretty much put last. It's just because they get taken
I
advantage
agree.
of,
Fine.
and
Who cares? It's like the American people were always being put last within the government. So why should I care if these
we're
immigrants are
not.
being put last?
There's social security. There's social security. There's the immigrant. I mean, the government works for us, so we're put first. That's the thing.
No, the administration was putting us last.
Well, may I chime in?
Yeah, here, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, and what, because I have some friends that live out in the New York area, and, I think I came to the conclusion that we went from one extreme to the other, right, with a broken immigration system, right? We went from what we've experienced, we went from a massive influx to now it's like, okay, everybody go home kind of scenario, right? And so, but during the last 4 years, especially, the problem, especially in the bigger cities, that I found was, well, you have an overwhelming population of people who need shelter, right? And a lot of these cities were prioritizing migrants over homeless U.S. citizens, which wasn't good. And then, once they get past, the initial 2 layers of profiling as they're coming into the U.S., they get a flight to wherever they want, right? And then they get to stay at a hotel, any sanctuary city they want. And the problem is that a lot of those hotels are sort of like a typical like housing center, like like an immigration center to house people. It's like, okay, now we start to put them in hotels, but it's going to have to be on the taxpayer dime. And these hotels aren't like $100 a night. Some of them are $200 to $300 a night. And, a lot of these, hotel owners are like, okay, well, if it's on the government's dime, then I'm going to ask for $350 to $400 a night, right, per room. So, and it wasn't just a New York thing. I mean, that was happening all over California, New York, Colorado, Illinois. I mean, it's just an ongoing issue. But, I have a friend who worked at ICE for the last 12 years. She also did 5 years at Interpol. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, she's seen a lot of stuff. So, to assume that that's the problem, right? You have one side that thinks like, oh, everybody's great, just let them all in. And then the other side is, oh, everyone's bad, both things can be true at the same time. But the problem is that under Biden, unfortunately, he created multiple, quote, legal pathways for them to come here, which contributed to the influx. So, okay, on paper, it looks like they're legal, right? So they can get their, Medicaid and whatever socialized subsidy they can get a hold of, they did get it, right? We can agree to that, right? We can agree to that for sure. So, that's just, when you do that, and then you're Biden and you go on TV and you're like, hey, you tell the whole country, hey, I'm gonna do like 98, pieces of legislation. Hey, I'm gonna do like 98, pieces of legislation to, get people through the system. It's like, well, you don't have the manpower to vet people out. You really don't, right? Because, there's different, and I'm sure you guys know this, but, there's different types of data that they collect at the border, right? You have your, your encounters, your quote gotaways, you have what the drones pick up. And, I'm telling you, based on like these people that are within my network that have worked for multiple, high level government organizations, they do not have the capability to process, 5,000 to 10,000 people a day. They just can't, not properly. So, it's a huge issue, right? And, here's the thing, I get it, like Parker, there's going to be people that are going to get like caught up in the mix, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but they're kind of overwhelming a lot of the local resources. Shoot, that's what sparked that whole Springfield, Ohio debate. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. All due respect, I respect your opinion, but can I explain why I think letting these people in could actually help us in the end? I really do believe, like, as much as like people don't like this, immigrants, they come here with like a visitor's visa, get a fake social, and they pay taxes. Same thing for through what is it called? It's the workers visa of us. Social Security,
Like an
immigrants
ITIN?
do. Yeah, yes, thank you.
Mhm.
They do pay taxes. Just I feel like outright kicking them out is, taking away tax dollars. I feel like the right thing to do is just give pay with each dollar, because they're actually like getting paid more, and they have like they're documented, and I feel they're documented. And I feel like it's just adding more money to the economy, because you're actually giving these people a chance, and, all this extra cash flow from, their higher wages from their taxes. And I don't think outright punishing them is just, I don't think it's very moral. It's not, I know it's
So
like
let me ask you a
illegal for
question.
them to be here, but it's
Okay,
like,
let me ask you a question. Say if I go to a foreign country as an American and I get a visa, and I overstayed my visa and my visa really expired, Wouldn't that be technically breaking the law?
Yes, it's breaking the law, but the thing is, our immigration system doesn't really favor immigrants. And
Because
it's
I
just
don't think
like
we should
these
favor
immigrants
immigrants.
would rather stay here and hide, provide for their families. Like if I was immigrant and I came here, through like a worker's visa and expires, it's like, well, shit, do I want to go through immigration system and, wait months and months and for the possibility of getting denied, or do I just hide? I mean, it's
Yes,
just easier to hide
wouldn't you rather
because the
chance it
immigration
and
system isn't fair.
So
okay,
if
but
I do have a question real quick though, like if you're
Yeah,
undocumented and you don't have like an ETIN or whatever it is,
right.
then how exactly are you able to pay taxes?
Well, so I know it's like a small amount, but just simply buying, from groceries. I know
oh
it's like
sure,
such a
yeah.
simple answer, but like I know it's
And
like
then again,
it's
I'm sorry.
even though they get paid under the table, which doesn't add any tax, but them like, paying for products is just I know it's a small amount, but it's still helping in a way.
Sure.
Okay,
Do I think
So
it's
and
like
I
do I
don't
think
think
it's like
correct me
right
if
to
I'm
get
wrong,
paid
but
under the table?
uh,
No, it's not right, but I
but
don't think
correct
it's
me if I'm
like
wrong. Earlier you said
punishable.
that to use a fake social, wouldn't that also be breaking the law? If you use a fake social.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up because I know it's
Okay,
not
so
the
if
reason why
we're
it exists because it's an easy way
but
out. It's just
but
like,
it's still breaking the
hey,
law.
I can just fake being a citizen if I just have a fake social and just
Okay, but it's still
live
breaking the
life
law.
worry free.
so I guess the question I have is, if you were to pull up, I mean, there's different, if we were to pull up a chart of number of migrants in America right now, ones that came in the last 4 years, is there any data to show like what's the actual dollar amount they pay in taxes versus how much in subsidies we have to pay out? Because I know it's either break even, you know it it's complex.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. I agree. It's
So
complex.
you know
Yeah,
I
I
mean
agree. It's not. I agree. It's
so
complex. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like, well, when people come here and to your point, right, like they a lot of them are going to have a hard time getting a court date because it's so overwhelmed and backed up. Because the problem is that when we have the inability to vet people out, unfortunately, we are going to get like a good amount of, a chunk of criminals coming through, which means that that's going to also overload our local resources as
Yeah.
well with law, right? So that means it's taking away their ability to get proper, documentation. But for me, I have a couple friends that are on visas and they're still here. Like I haven't,
Yeah.
no one within my network that has a visa and who's kept up with it legally. Whether they're college students or, because I got a couple friends that have visas from different countries, and they come here, they work, they pay their taxes, and they're not going anywhere. They haven't had any issues
Right.
with law enforcement. You know.
But
Yeah, and
like,
same thing for me.
right.
I know people who are my friends and they have visas and they're still here and they're still paying their tax and they're still doing their part to contribute to helping.
Yeah, but like
So
eventually,
that's not the
sometimes
issue.
when those
The
visas
issue is
expire, it's just costing more money, and it's just honestly, I get it. It's just easier to let it expire for the fear of like getting
okay.
denied or
But my
like,
my my question is like, would you rather take the chance of going that way, even though you might get denied? But wouldn't you rather take the chance going that way and show proof that you're already going through a certain way, versus risking it and getting deported by ICE?
well, like my main point is like I feel like you should just give these people citizens because it's not
And,
really hurting
and
us
again,
if
I
we give
don't
them
think me
citizenship.
personally, I don't think we should give them any type of chances because I come from a military family and I believe our veterans should be put first.
But we do. We don't put immigrants first. Like
No,
they don't
we actually, as a
benefit
nation, we
from.
actually do put immigrants first because I seen from in California, I seen so many veterans outside in the streets, and we're putting these immigrants up in hotels and putting these people who are crossing the border up in hotels, and we're putting them first versus putting our veterans first
Hey,
and letting them out of the streets.
I do agree, but like, I've seen the complete opposite. It's just like the world isn't perfect. like, you know,
and
I do
I
believe
am is a
immigrants.
sanctuary state.
So
I do.
because I'm originally from Colorado, right? And you know, there were a couple towns north of my area, you know, that were, or you know, small cities that were run by, they were Democratic mayors, and they were like, they're on TV a couple of times, both like CNN and I think one on ABC, and they were telling Polis like, hey, like you can't send any more people here because our school gyms are full of people, right? Um,
Right.
you know, and that's just on a small scale. Like, you know, I don't know what's going on in other states, like in some of those rural areas, but you know, that's the thing. You know, we also had a couple hospitals go under, fiscally speaking, because you know they had to help these people out, and these people don't have, you know, insurance, or if they do have Medicaid, like those checks from Medicaid, like those doctors and physicians, they hardly ever. It takes a long time for them to see those checks, so therefore the quality of care goes down. The, you know, the manpower, the ability to actually serve people at a hospital, also goes down because you know you need more hands-on staff, and that's the problem when you heavily subsidize, this kind of issue and try to thinking that throwing more money at it is going to solve it. You know.
Well, like that's why I believe, you know, if you make them like citizens, they can actually like fund Medicaid even more, and it's just, you know,
But do
more
you see
money
the
is
issue is
actually solve problems.
the more we accept these people coming in, the more of a burden it is on us.
It's all they're doing is just helping with our
But
economy.
it's a burden on us
Not
because we
really.
have to put more money into it to make sure these people get what they need.
I mean, immigrants do pay into like Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay,
They don't
fine,
benefit from
fine,
it.
they pay. But do you
Yeah.
understand? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it
Well,
becomes a
not
burden
not
to
all
the.
of them.
Yeah, not all of them. I do agree, not all
Yeah.
of them. But
It's like,
ones
but
that
these
came here legally,
say
yeah, they paid through it.
these
Yeah.
people that
But
were
also,
becomes a
or
burden to us. But then
ITIN
we
did.
need to put them up in hotels. Then we need to make sure they have what they need. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. It's like, fine, if you want to come into here, if you want to let me come in, you want to be part of this trend and stand with everything for that, fine, you're all for it. Cool, I don't mind. But at the same time, if you don't disrespect us and disrespect everything we stand for and trying to change everything we stand for, then it's like, what's the point of you being here?
Well,
I
and I
mean,
think to
I
add
feel like,
to
sorry.
the well, I was just going to mention like the problem with immigration and the border and things like that is, you know, it, of course, this is a topic that became heavily politicized, and so if you have someone running for 4 years that is making promises, you know what the other side's going to do. They're going to, you know, they're going to fold on those whatever they were doing, right? I mean, that's just how the two-party system works. You know, so it's like, you know, it's like why would you want to like create an issue like this knowing that another party could likely move in and literally undo everything that you've done and it, you know, create a hot mess, you know. And that's kind of the problem with Congress and, you know, having the two-party system. You know, it's I mean the shit's going to be broken for a while, you know, regardless of whatever
Yeah.
your view on it is.
But like my main point is like, you know, I understand it's unfair that they're getting like, you know, housing, but I don't think they deserve punishment when we can just simply, you know, just like we have the ability to support both sides. I don't think you should just outright
No,
punish
the thing
them
is,
for
we're
getting
already wasting too much money as it is. Fine, I'm not saying we don't have money. Okay, we have the money, but we're already wasting too much money as it is on housing these people.
That's why, you know, I do agree that, but I feel like it would be
And
simply
like that,
solved
and
by like,
someone who
you know,
comes from a
just like
military
fixing the
family,
tax system too. You know,
and like I
I
said,
don't think
someone who
raising,
comes from a
I think
military
lowering
family,
the
I find
taxes
very
for millionaires
disrespectful
and
that we
billionaires
can't,
you know,
yeah.
I feel
But
like,
like I said, if someone who comes from a military family, someone who had an uncle who died for this country and died for everything and we stand for as a country, I find very disrespectful that we need to put these people first, then our veterans, then Americans, and we have to waste so much money on these people.
Well,
I'm not saying they're not allowed. I'm not saying they're not allowed here. They are allowed here for all means, but do it the right way.
well, isn't the current admin helping, like subsidizing, like the self deportation, which comes with, I think it's like a $1,000 check or something? Because that's the thing. Like, there's a good portion of people that cost the taxpayer about, I think it's like 22 grand a year per person, right? So I think what I heard, and you have to. I heard that there was they turned the CPB One app into a self deportation where, hey,
Yeah.
if you turn yourself in now, we'll give you a check, get you back home wherever you're from, and then you could come in the right way, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot
Did
of
you
that
know
going on
that's-
too.
But like in most cases, Mexico, for example, they have these promises, but literally they strip everything off you and just leave you in the middle of nowhere. That's the thing. It's just how the border is in Mexico. They'll just leave you stranded and take everything.
Okay,
So-
well, let me correct it. It's actually what's going on with the border, and I have family who is in Mexico. What's going on with the border with that is like the MS-13, the cartels, all that stuff, all those gangs are basically running that area. And they get from people over here, and I know people who actually pay those smugglers to come to do that.
Yeah, that's
They
why I
get-
don't think it's very
They
right.
get so
'cause they're just
far
sending
within the
these
border,
people
and they leave them
to
there.
death sentence.
And so
Well-
that was going on.
And that's kind of the issue with having more of like a open border flexible policy, because it, unfortunately, according to my contacts with Interpol and ICE, it just opens up the door for a ton of crime,
But
unfortunately.
I mean, I respect your opinion, but I don't think people are coming here to break crimes. I feel like it's
Okay, so
motive is to take care of their family.
let's look at the last mission and what
I'm
went
not
on with
saying
it.
all of them, but there's a good.
No, I do agree there is bad people out there, but
Yeah.
you can't outright punish all these people. I don't think it's
Yeah, and
very
I agree with you. We cannot punish all these people who come here, but at the same time, it's like they still need to obey our laws.
If I may,
How can you
Oh.
obey a law if the immigration system isn't fair to you? It's just
Okay, and
I
like
wanna
I said,
stay here
wouldn't you
legally
rather
because
take
it's
that?
easy.
Wouldn't you rather take that chance and show that you're going through the process, and later on in the future risking getting deported by ICE?
Because if you show yourself, you're more likely to get punished because it's just how it is, man. That's
Yeah,
how
but
it
you-
is. It's not fair.
you're saying it's not fair. How so? I mean, this is the only country in the world that had an open border policy. Any other country in the world, even if we're as Americans try to go to Mexico without your visa, you know what you do? They incarcerate you, and then finally, when they decide that you've been incarcerated for enough time, then they start the deportation process. We're the
Yeah, they
only
kill you
country.
there.
We're the only country that had an open border. Everywhere else in the world, they had their military on their border. So I mean, how is it not fair? I don't
Yeah.
understand your logic in
It's
that.
this land of the free,
Frank
man.
makes a
It's
good.
just like
He makes a good point.
giving
Yeah,
people
Frank, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
agree with Frank here. It doesn't make it doesn't make no sense.
it's always about me, me, me. Like, why not these other people that like have a worse life than us? Like,
Okay, fine.
living a
Other people
better
have
life.
worse life than us, but then again, my question is to you, and I've been asking this question: why do we need to put priority to other countries, and why do we need to put priority to other people when we cannot take care of our own?
we
Yeah.
we have the ability to take care of our own.
Well, that's
But-
But why isn't it being done then? Why isn't it being done? We know that the
Honest.
homeless situation is
It's because of corporate greed, man. It's just
there's people
America
going
has a
hungry.
business.
There's children that once they leave school on Friday, they don't eat again until they go to school on Monday. The whole weekend. We have situations like that going on here, and we're sending money to and providing for so many other people around the world. I mean, we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to support a war in Eastern Europe with the Ukraine. You know what I mean? We've got so many issues here that we need to focus on. And then
But
another
we're
thing,
not really sending money over there. We're just sending
We're-
equipment.
we're sending. Well, look. The equipment costs money. We're funding, paying
It's-
for the military equipment that they're getting from Boeing, from Lockheed and Martin, and the other defense, General Dynamics, the other defense contractors. The taxpayers footing the bill.
Well, it's just unused equipment. It's just outdated stuff. And,
No, it's not
we'd rather-
outdated. The Army
It
attack
literally
them.
is, though.
The Army attack them. Ballistic missiles are the best that the Army has. It's not outdated equipment we're providing.
Oh, Frank,
there's
real quick,
always
real quick,
innovation.
Frank, when you're on a live, buddy, TikTok's really like sensitive to. You got to say pew pews or something. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
yes,
Well,
sir.
I
No, it's good. Don't worry about
We're
it.
flying. Okay.
Sorry,
And
man.
even
I
say
know
if it was
it's
even
so
outdated
dumb.
equipment,
Sorry.
like say it was,
Yeah.
that's still
And like,
we're
can I
we're
bring
still
something
putting
else?
money into saying those. That's still
And like, can I
we're
bring
still
something else?
putting money into saying those equipments out.
That look, it's not outdated. The British are sending their Storm Shadow pew pews. The Germans are sending about pew pews. The Germans are sending about to send their Taurus, which is the state of the art, the best type of pew pew they have. And I'm talking about the ones that go in the sky and come down. And
Yeah.
we're sending the army attack them. That is
I
not
don't.
that
Yeah,
is the
whatever,
best
bro. Hey,
that
check
they
this out. I
provide.
just posted a video on how to jack off horses.
I like the penis to be
Okay, no, I'm not dealing
Man,
with that.
come on, man.
I'm not dealing with that.
Eight is so. I don't think it's very wise, getting rid of these funds to support a country, because it's like, honestly, you can't let a dictator take over another country, because the more power they have, the more greedy they get. Plus, like, canceling these funds won't really help us, because it's literally less than 1% per year of our funding. So we would never see that money. That's the thing.
Well,
That money. That's the thing.
well,
$300 million to the Ukraine is not a 1%. That's a lot more than that.
well,
No,
300 billion. I'm
per
sorry,
year
300 billion.
compared to the compared to the deficit, that's literally less than 1% of what's.
But
the
we should be
deficit per
turning
year.
that internally. What I'm saying is we should be turning that to help us and help lower our deficit. But yet they're just spending more money to take and increase the deficit and not helping the
So-
people that need it here.
But
And
can
all
I-
that money is gone because Ukraine is not winning that war.
so we
Yeah,
can't
but
forget we can't
why
forget about
why
the
let Russia win when you can't give them power? It's just, you got to keep fighting. You can't let.
Well,
You
but
can't let them take
but you
over.
know what's about to happen though, right? I mean, are you familiar with what happened over the past week, the past couple of days with Russia?
Regardless
Putin
if
went
they,
crazy.
let's say if they have a guaranteed win.
You know why
there's
he
no
went
way-
crazy?
There's no way of knowing that. That's why
You-
we
you-
shouldn't stop funding, because it's like, oh, we give up. Take
Do
over,
you
we
know
don't
why
care
he
anymore.
went crazy and did what he
Actually,
did
no.
in Ukraine?
I'll be honest with you. I really don't know. I just saw that was Trump posting. That's all I saw. I really don't know why.
Well, this is what happened on Saturday. They tried to take him out. They said he was visiting the Kursk region of his country in a helicopter, and they sent 45 drones to try to take him out. And they were fortunate that they were able to take and knock him down, and he was able to barely escape. And right after that, then he struck the Ukraine with the biggest strike that they've had in the 3-year war.
So
I get it.
My question
Russia's
with the
very
Russia.
strong, but you can't let them take over. That's the
Well,
point.
But how can we stop it?
let
They're
them.
they've got the
Hang on.
strongest nuclear arsenal in the world. They
So
have the
that-
So you're
biggest.
just gonna
Yeah.
let them take over the world?
Well,
But-
that's
Why
but-
not fund Ukraine? Like, it's not.
But by doing so, we're putting 300 million people here at risk because Russia can actually reach out and touch us here
Well,
in America.
so here's my
That's
question.
why
So
you can't
the
let
thing with
Russia take over Ukraine,
so
because they'll have
my-
Ukraine's weapons.
my
You
my
can't
question.
let them take over.
My so my
Their
question with
weapons
this-
are our weapons. We're the ones providing them with the weapons. What are you talking about?
And you
All right,
can't
guys.
let
Jordan
Russia
tried to
take
ask
it.
something.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
No, like I was just gonna say, my question is, like, regardless whether we're funding Ukraine or not, like, I still don't see like a positive end game, because if we were to, out Putin, right, we're dealing with whoever's next in line, who could either be just as bad or
I mean,
I'm
Right
so
now-
sorry,
Oh,
but
next in line is
Wow.
probably Dmitry Medvedev.
yeah,
Dmitry
that's
Medvedev.
what- yep.
you just
Yep.
can't give up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You gotta fight harder. You can't
but-
say, all right, you guys won. It's just,
I
But-
agree with that to
I
an
wish,
extent, but
it
it's
wasn't.
this one. Oof! NATO
yeah.
NATO really caused this one for sure. I mean,
yes, I agree with you about
Yeah.
how we shouldn't just let Russia gets its way, but at the same time, I don't think we should also have our military going over there to fight a war that's not even ours.
But we're
You
putting
can't let
300
them
million Americans at risk. That's the point. I mean, Russia at some point is going to be
That
like they
or
had
our
enough.
country.
And we might be at that point now because it looks like the gloves are off. I mean, Trump is talking about taking all restrictions off of the Ukraine's ability to use the weapons at unlimited range into Russia. And also, he's talking about throwing the massive sanctions on Russia. And Russia is saying basically they're tired of playing with NATO. They feel like NATO was involved. NATO was the one that did it. It was their guidance and intelligence systems that provided the know-how to take and try to take him out on Saturday. So, I mean, they're saying that they've had enough. So, I mean, we're at a point right now that's very critical. And, I mean, really, we're putting 300 million Americans' lives at risk. I mean, I don't know if you know today, but there was on the Russia was taking and providing targeting data to their mobile ICBM launchers that launched the Yars ICBMs. That was all over traffic, all over today. They was providing launching and targeting data. I mean, this is getting really serious.
And I don't know if you guys remember last year when the Biden administration was in office, they actually flexed on us and sent one of their warships really close towards us.
Oh man, the U.S. has always got sub hunting planes off the coast of Florida and the Gulf of America because they feel like there's enemy subs that are off the Gulf of America because they feel like there's enemy subs that are off the coast lines and probably setting off the shores of America right now.
Well,
I wouldn't doubt it.
They do a lot of wargaming off of the. Well, I believe Russia and China ran a lot of not artificial ops, but I guess you can call them like practices near the coast of Alaska, because Alaska is only like a few hundred miles away from Russia. No joke. Like if you look at the map, it's
You're
close.
right. You're right.
I'm not even talking about
My
Mexico.
main point
I'm not
is
talking about Mexico just in their border
why
issue.
give up?
This time I'm talking about Canada. Now I'm going towards Canada. It's like Canada is a full dense forest, and these people we're talking, they can easily cross that border as normal because how it's just nothing but forest.
Well, what he was referring to, they are sending a lot of warplanes and strategic aircraft towards Alaska. However, I mean, it looks like we may have subs off the East Coast in the Gulf of America and all types of stuff because the U.S. almost on a daily basis is flying Navy sub-hunter planes that are into the Gulf of America and off the coast of Florida and into the Caribbean and all, on like every single day for the last couple months. So, I mean, it looks like there may be enemy subs, whether they be Russian or Chinese, off our coastlines, on a continuous basis. And not to say we don't have them off their coastlines, because I'm sure we do. But I mean, just to say that, that is happening and things are amping up.
Right.
Look,
Honestly, I think that
my
this will show
point
end at
is
a given time point versus before
why
we
give up?
actually end up in World War III.
And why even get rid of U.S. aid? It does a lot more than just Ukraine. Like it stops
I'm
diseases
sorry.
from spreading. It's
You said USAID?
yeah, USAID.
Okay, well that was
You
a waste of money.
How?
And also, I think what
prevents
happened was
diseases in other
I
countries
think
from spreading. That's the whole
I think there
point.
was a lot of corruption with it. Apparently, the U.S. had stipulations on certain countries that in order to take and receive the aid, they had to take and do certain things like permit ABs to occur in their country or take and provide trans rights and all this and all that. And a lot of that goes against a lot of countries that were receiving aid, but they had to bend to the U.S.'s will in order to receive those millions or billions of dollars. So there was a lot of corruption that was involved in the allocating of those funds. And I think that's what was happening. They discovered.
Why defund it instead of fixing it then? That makes no sense. All it does
I
is
can't
just
tell
prevent
you.
diseases.
That honestly, I can't
That's the
touch
point.
on why they didn't fix it. I really can't touch on that. I'll be honest with that.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but I do know that there was a lot of corruption and there was a lot of money that was going places that it shouldn't have been. And there was a lot of conditions that were required to be met in order to get the money.
Let's say there's a shit ton of corruption. Why defund it instead of fixing it? That's the point.
I mean, I
It's
agree
like-
with you. I mean, I can't answer
it's
that.
supposed to be aid, it's like it prevents diseases, and it's just
Okay, so if
It's-
we're talking about aid, let's
Yeah.
talk on the subject. If we're talking about aid, it was also shown that most of these, including the CDC, the people who are supposed to come up with cures for these cancers, for these diseases that are going around, most of these medical supplies,
Like
most of
measles and
the
Obama, or I think it's measles. The fuck is that one called? Ebola. It also like helps with starvation around the world. It's like
okay, so that's the issue. Why do we need to care about other places and other countries, but we cannot take care of ourselves?
why do we discard human life? Like, you know,
It's
it
not
shouldn't be
discarding
all
human
about
life. Why
us.
can't we
It's
put our
just
own
like,
first?
you know, there's places that are way worse than us. Why take away aid? It's just, it isn't fair.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you care for the homeless?
I do.
Okay, so why would you not want to help the homeless that's in our country first and give them what
That's-
they need first?
That's the problem also, is they're also defunding that. That's the thing.
What? Funding money for the homeless?
You didn't know right here in California, Trump actually is opening up a veteran homeless shelter within California.
How are they doing that? How are they taking away funds from homeless people and stuff? Because that wouldn't be
Social
through
Security.
USA. Where I mean, I've heard people say that, but I haven't seen any.
I haven't seen
direct.
nothing either. I haven't
You
seen
know,
no
even
backup team or
even though
nothing.
you're homeless, you still benefit from, you know, you still benefit from, like, what's it called? Medicare, Medicaid, social. It's just like, why defund that? Because it's, I know they're
Okay,
still
well,
technically
they're not. It's not getting
homeless,
defunded. It might be
but
getting
they
defunded
can
to the
still-
people who. It might be getting defunded to the illegal immigrants.
but they don't get
But-
benefits. They just pay
They were
into
getting.
it.
Well,
were
they
getting-
do get some benefits. They get. I mean, if an illegal is pregnant and goes to the hospital, they're going to take and have the baby. They're going to get provided health care. So they are getting benefits.
Because the baby is a citizen now. That's the point.
Yeah, but then again, it still lands on us. It still lands on our designation to provide everything for them.
Or
why-
I'm just use that as an example. Say they injure themselves, they fall off a ladder, they go to the hospital. They're not going to take and turn them away. They're going to provide them care, and then it's going to be go through like Medicaid. You know what I mean?
Can I explain? I don't think you should punish by deporting them, because they do supply through taxes by purchasing fake social US.
Okay, again, if you have fake social, it's breaking the law.
That is breaking the law. That
I know it's breaking the law.
So
I know,
why do
I
we need to
acknowledge
deal with
that.
people breaking the
But
law?
they're still funding taxes. I feel
But
like
they're
the
breaking-
solution is give
But
them
they're breaking the law.
citizenship. Huh?
But they're breaking the law.
I know they're breaking the law, but
They're
the
breaking-
solution
at that
is
point,
giving them
so now-
citizenship so they can actually, pay more taxes.
Okay, so
That's
my
like,
thing is
it's
my
a better
issue
idea
is
than
why
just
not
kicking them
even
out.
why not put in the money go through that way, even though you might not get accepted, but why risk it getting deported by ICE?
It's just overall, if you give immigrants citizenship, they'll pay more taxes overall because they will have higher wages, thus helping Americans.
Okay, so I
even
know where
more.
this is going. So you rather us have these immigrants at low wage, basically slavery, and not even
Yeah.
slavery?
They're practically our slaves because they get
Okay, well,
paid
it
under
shouldn't
the
be like that.
table
It's like we
with a
don't even
super
deal with
low
slavery
wage.
anymore.
They're being taken advantage of. That's the point of, that's why like
But you're
farms,
you're
they
here
take
arguing
advantage
saying
of
that
these people.
okay, let me tell you your logic. You're up here arguing saying that we should contribute to these people and let them have these illegal social security numbers and not even deal with them, but then again pay them at a lower rate.
No, that's what it is now. What I'm saying is,
But that's
give
the way
them
that
real
that's
social.
I'm not gonna mention who or what, but that's the way it's been happening.
But
I
that
acknowledge-
impacts our
can I
jobs,
please
too.
Speak?
Go
Can
ahead,
I
go ahead.
Explain. What I'm saying is, if you give these people a real social, they will actually get a real job, paid a better wage. Thus, more money you make, the more taxes. So
Okay,
the more
which it will
taxes
benefit them.
It also will benefit us. That's the thing.
Yes,
Taxes
the way it should
benefit
be.
all citizens.
I don't know, because our tax money is being sent all over the world. It's not benefiting us now. So that's
Yeah, you're
just
right.
giving
It's not
them
being
more
sent- it's not
money
being
to send to other
There's
places. That's all.
Medicaid. There's like taxes, you know, funded
Okay,
the
so
police, fire
okay, so
department,
let me tell you this way.
roads,
Let me tell you,
schools,
say these people actually get a real social security.
Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare.
Yeah, but let me tell you what will happen. For one, it will benefit them because they will get W-2.
Yeah, I know it will benefit them. That doesn't mean it's
So
bad
that will
because it'll
benefit them
also
if they get
benefit us.
actually if they become legal. They will get W-2, and two, there's a good chance that company, wherever company they're going under, will pay for their medical insurance, eye vision, or so on, wherever they cover. So
Because they
that
pay
will also
for it out of
benefit
their
them
check.
if they become legal. But
Yeah,
if
I
you're not
agree.
legal and you're here with face social and you're doing what you're doing is breaking the law, you cannot benefit off those.
Yeah, you can't.
Hey, look, I this is my thing. You know, I understand that a lot of people do come here looking for a better life, and you know,
Yeah.
I understand that totally. But however, not everybody that's coming here has our best interests at heart. I mean, you got to realize, and we were just talking about the U.S. is involved, whether they're directly involved or funding conflicts all around the globe. America
But
has
can I?
enemies, and why would not enemies of America not take the opportunity to move assets into our country because of our lax border policies? Don't you think that Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, and other countries that are enemies of our country have not moved assets into our country?
I mean, I don't think. What do you mean? What do you mean
Moved.
assets?
Basically,
I'm
moved in.
talking about moved
Like they're citizens.
people
What do you
that
mean?
did not have our best interests at heart. Maybe
Basically, what he's saying that undercover spies.
or
Yeah, that's what the black.
saboteurs and so forth.
The
I'm
U.S.
sorry?
does that too. It's part of the black budget. It's
Yeah,
you know
they
every
may
country
we may
spies on
do
each
it,
other.
but we the only ones that got an open border. It's a lot harder for us to move assets into their country. They know that our country, as long as they get to Mexico or they get to Canada, they can easily walk across the border. Why would you not think that Russia or China is not moving people into our country? You know what I mean? And then aside from that, over the past year, I mean, I'm talking about the last year that Biden was in office. The majority of people that were being caught at the border were no longer women and children; they were military-age men.
And wasn't that like sparking like, okay, no, suddenly, why are only military young men coming to the border and not women or children?
Why aren't they bringing their families? Yeah, exactly. You know, and
Like,
they're
that's
not just
a-
coming from Central America
These
and South America;
these
they've come from all
spy
over the world.
agents can still come here legally and still spy on us. They don't have to come here
Man,
legally.
look, what I'm saying is these people can actually come across the border and probably come with their own weapons because
Okay,
the border
that's-
was so
look,
open.
But that's the
I-
thing. Say if they could go through customs, they actually go through a background check.
My point. Background check doesn't say they're a secret spy. That's not. That's
Okay,
the whole
fine.
point.
Not maybe a check, but it will allow us to know who the hell we're
Y'all
letting in.
y'all keep saying spies. I'm talking about maybe they're moving like people saboteurs into the country. You know,
It's like-
I mean, there was a Russian guy that was caught like 4 or 5 months ago that was coming across the border, and all he had was I think he had 5,000 in U.S. dollars. He had some pesos, and in his backpacks he had a drone. That's all he had.
And then
I'm
that's the
never-
other
I'm
issue.
never
These other people that
fighting
were
for
coming
an
in,
open-
they were from MS-13.
I was never
Yes.
fighting for an open border. My main point is you shouldn't punish these people paying through our system.
And again, I'm saying that we should not put these other people first. We should not put other countries. That we should put our military members first.
We're not putting
Hey,
anyone first. That's the thing.
Well, we definitely are putting our own first. I'll put it that way.
For sure, we're not putting our own first.
We are putting our own first.
Yeah, now we're putting our own
How
first.
so?
We
Now we're
benefit
putting our own
from our
first. We
ta-
actually
we
jumping off
benefit
this.
from our taxes. That's literally a definition of benefiting
Okay,
from our
so
system.
you want to know the reason why we're actually putting American citizens first, and why we're putting our own country first is because
Wait,
we
I
actually
was-
have a president. It's because we actually have a president in office who actually cares for us. We actually have a boss within the White House.
But why punish immigrants that help us?
Because why should we contribute to them when we cannot take our own? That's been an issue for the longest, even before you were born, even before I was born, even before Frank was born. That's been the issue for the longest. Why can't we put
Well,
ourselves,
let
our
me
citizens first, then putting other people first?
Let me explain. If you give these people, if you give them citizenship, they will help us pay taxes and benefit us in the long run. Well, actually, they'll benefit us instantly because they're paying way more taxes because they actually have a real job. I don't think
Okay,
you should
so
kick them
you
out.
want to
You should
rather
give them
you want to have
citizenship.
rather have them have a real job and actually go out there like everyone else, bust
Yeah.
our backs in this real job, whatever job it is, let it be fire, medic, police, warehouse, whatever, and always have to bust our ass just to earn a single paycheck. But these other people are getting millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we're getting what, a penny a day, $1 a day, and we can't even meet ends meet. But these people are getting rich off our taxes.
What?
How does that benefit us?
They don't get millions. No.
They've been getting
get
millions
They get this. The point
from
is
our
they get the
taxes,
same.
from American people who break their
Can I
fucking
speak?
back.
And I speak. You're basically giving immigrants the same rights as Americans. You're not giving them extra benefits for being a brand new citizen. You're
Okay,
just
so
making
let me ask you something.
people
No, let me
take
ask you something. So them getting free phones, them getting housing, them getting everything that we've been struggling for the past couple of years, that we have to pay a freaking phone bill that could be so much money, but then again they get a free phone. Does not benefit them?
I have never. No, I don't believe that, man. That's bullshit.
They last year the Biden administration gave us freaking free cell phones out to anyone who came in here through the border.
Legally?
Yes, illegally.
Illegally.
Yeah, because that's what they are. Like it or
Legal
not, that's what they are.
immigrant, here's a free
Illegal.
phone.
They're illegal
Everything
aliens.
makes sense.
Like they're not.
Why
Like they're
wouldn't
not, I'm
you
calling
give
them what
them
they are.
citizenship?
And me as a Mexican,
Explain to
and I'm
me-
telling you something. Wait, no, let me
Explain
finish.
to me why you
Let me
shouldn't
tell you something.
give them
Hold up. Let me
citizenship.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. Me as a Mexican American, I don't agree with people coming here in this country illegally. When there's other people in line waiting for 2, 3, 4, how many years just to get citizenship, but then again, these illegal immigrants come to this country, and I don't appreciate that as a Mexican American who come from family from immigrants.
I agree.
And my family actually had to bust their back.
Give them a pathway. Why?
My family actually had to bust their back to get legal citizenship here.
And why not
And
change
some of them are
it to
still
make it
waiting,
easier?
and some of them still waiting. Like, why? If we had to deal with these fucking idiots that are coming here illegally, and we had to attend to them.
Why not make it easy for them? Why make it so
Because
difficult to get
it's better to
citizenship?
go through process than breaking the law.
Why make it difficult for them to get citizenship?
Okay, let me ask you something. You don't think you think it's fair why we put these people who come in illegally? You think it's fair for us to put them first versus people who've been trying to get citizenship and we can't even attend to them?
All I'm saying is, if you give them
No,
citizenship,
what you're saying, no.
they will pay
This
more
is what you're
taxes.
saying. This is what I hear.
That's why
this is
we
what-
should do it.
No, this is what I hear you saying. You rather have these fucking illegal immigrants coming to this country, they put us as their baby daddy or baby mama and use us as a piggy bank, and we only care for them, and we don't care about our veterans, we don't care about our soldiers, we don't care about American people, and we put everyone last in America. That's what I'm hearing from you.
What I'm saying, give them citizenship.
Okay,
That's
and
all I'm
I've been
saying.
asking if they want citizenship, why don't do it the right way?
Yeah, I'm saying fix the immigration system and make it easier.
That's what we've been doing. We're in the immigration system.
It is a terrible system. I'm saying we should fix it.
But you're also saying it's like why shouldn't we care about these people who are coming across the border?
You know, people that cross the border illegally, yeah, they're illegal. But I don't think
No, they're illegal. They're not legal. They're illegal aliens. They're criminals.
that's what I'm saying. They're criminals by being here illegally, but I don't think that should be punishable.
And at the same time, having a
them-
fake visa is against the law.
There's no such what?
Having a
fake
fake
visa?
having a fake SSI Social Security is also against the law.
I know that. What I'm saying is,
So why
give
are
them
you
a
up here
pathway.
saying that let them have a fake social or let them have this when you know in your mental mind you know this is wrong and it should be done.
my point is, I know there's such thing as a fake social, but give them a real social so they can benefit.
You think okay? Let's be honest. Do you really think they're gonna do that?
What?
Do you honestly think they're actually going to do something like that?
I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Do you honestly think they will do something like that? If they already came here illegally and bring the law, do you really think they will do that when they already broke the law?
It's more of a civil crime than a federal crime, so
It's
I don't
not-
think they're doing
no.
anything.
What, coming here
It-
legally is a misdemeanor, and then if you leave
Because
and get
Trump
deported and come
made it.
back, it's a felony. Second time.
Because Trump made immigration a federal crime. It used to be
Which is a
civil.
good thing.
No. It's always been that. The first time
It's
you
always
get
been
caught,
Trump,
it's a
did,
misdemeanor.
that.
Second time is a felony. Trump didn't change the law on that. That's how it is. That's the law.
And if we're
But
going back to,
why-
and if we're going to
why-
past presidents, every single president done the same freaking thing. Obama had the highest deportation rate there was.
I know, but why wouldn't you give them pathway to citizenship?
Again, we should put
Well,
our
they do
own
have pathways
people
to
first. We should
citizenship
put our
if they do it
own
the right
veterans
way.
first. We should put our own military first.
But Frank, the thing is, the right way is a difficult way, and you can get denied. My point is, make the system easier, less corrupt. It's just.
I mean,
fix it.
I understand you're passionate about this situation. I mean, this topic. But this is one thing I do have to say about you saying about providing Social Security numbers to them. The only thing is, by doing that, then you incentivize more people to come here. Because once
Yeah, what's wrong with
people
that?
tell their people in their country, oh man, I got there, they gave me a Social Security, they made me a citizen, all this and all that. The whole world is already coming here as it is. You're going to have many, many millions of more people trying to get to the U.S. So where does
What's
it
wrong with
end?
that?
Where does it stop?
The thing is, what's wrong with that is like the world benefit of America so much that half the world looks like we're their baby daddy or baby mama, or like we're their own piggy bank, and they can just leech off us.
Well, it's not really that. It's just escaping the
No, it
dangers
is that.
of their
That's
country.
been the issue.
Why not
Even
make it
before
easier
Trump.
for them?
It's not making it easier for the American people.
That ain't the case for everybody. Not everybody's trying
It
to
is
escape their
making
country.
it easier for American people because
No,
it
it's not.
benefits
Because we
them
have to
more
put more tax dollars money to bring these people in. It's not making it easier for the American people at all.
Do you? Well,
It
if you
honestly
give them
hasn't, because they
citizenship,
dumped.
They will fund more taxes. That's the thing. So it wouldn't even matter how much taxes it will cost because
It does
will
matter.
be funding it.
No, it
Hey,
does matter.
They took a lot of these people. The last
They
administration took a
will
lot of these people.
fund way
and
more taxes if you give them
They-
citizenship.
a-
Thus,
a-
And
a lot-
it should be that way. It should be that way.
That's what
a
I'm
lot
saying.
of these people from the previous administration, they took them and dumped them into minority communities, which made it even harder for black people in their own community. First of all, you were saying how they weren't getting paid right. So what that does is by them getting lower wages, that takes and makes it harder for regular Americans to get jobs because other people would rather pay less money than pay regular wages that they'd have to pay us. So then it affects the lower jobs. You know what I mean? And when I say lower jobs, I'm referring to like the jobs that aren't like a white collar job.
Okay,
And as we know that a large percentage of the minority community has had situations with incarceration. We know that the crime bill was just pretty much reversed from Biden's 90 crime bill that it led to mass incarceration of minorities. So a lot of people don't have a perfect record. So a lot of people in those communities have to rely on those type of jobs.
And to add to the issue here, the job I used to work for UPS. We actually need to let people go. Yet to make sure these illegal immigrants that they have criminal background check still had the job, and we need to get rid of hard-working Americans at that warehouse.
That's I don't know what you're talking about. That's just plain out corporate greed. That's not
No,
anything
because
about
we need
politics.
to. No, what you're not understanding is that we need to put more money in. We need to dish more money out to make sure we make sure. Oh, you have this, you have that, you have this. Okay, here's so much, so and so much. Even though I don't know, the average person gets paid $15 an hour, or $16 an hour, or $18 an hour. But then again, these people are making way more than us.
They're not though. That's just
Okay, dude.
That's
At
just
this
corporate
point,
greed
no matter how
on its
much I
own.
explain, look. No matter how much I
just
explain,
corporate greed.
no matter how much Frank explain, you're not gonna. You're basically not getting the point.
I mean, I
Why would you?
understand that you're stuck in the way that you're thinking and so forth. And I mean, I understand you want to help the people that are in need, but not everybody that's coming here is in need. A lot of people in a lot of countries are sending people and taking advantage of America. You know what I mean? I mean, Trump,
Taking
Trump was
advantage
right.
is literally taking advantage. It's their families first. That's the point. That's how
No,
we work.
no, I don't say this.
No,
last
what I'm
time,
saying is they're taking
I'm-
advantage
look,
of the situation of
look,
us having
guys.
an open border.
Look, I don't say this one more the very last time, but you're not getting to your freaking skull that we're not supposed to put these people first. We should put our veterans first. We should put our military first. We should put these American people who've been out of the streets first. That's the
Why
point.
not
Hungry
put both of them
children
first?
first.
I'm
Why
out.
not
Hungry
put both
children
of
here in
them
America.
first?
I'm out.